All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Tomboy Official. Here we talk about gender-related topics, sexuality-related topics, and just relationships and social topics in general. I was a little bit curious to know about how, some specific spaces work as far as like saunas, spas, what are they called? Like, not necessarily resorts, but like those little, what do you call those? Like, I guess it's called a spa. Now in, American Western culture, saying things like sauna and spa doesn't initially have like a sexual connotation to it. I know in Singapore that might be a little bit different, and certain other places. I'm not specifically talking about like bathhouses necessarily. I mean, a little bit. Like, I think it kind of expands into that topic, what I want to talk about here. But I have kind of more questions than I would say I have like direct kind of like explanations of things. And the topic just kind of hit me today because I had some friends who were asking me, to go with them to this spa that's local in LA. It's a Korean style spa, and they have like, it's very gendered. So basically there's the lobby, and you can't get past the lobby without, going through the locker room, because you have to wear the attire, you have to wear the shorts, the t-shirt, if you're going upstairs into the clothed area, but you can only wear those clothes. You can't just wear your regular clothes. You have to wear the kind of like, it's almost like PJs, but it's like sweat, those sweatpants, but they're kind of like cut off, so they're like shorts made out of like the sweatpant material, and then they have like a t-shirt that's just kind of like a loose fitting t-shirt, orange shirt, gray shorts, no shoes. I don't think you're usually wearing slippers or sandals unless you're in the locker room or the shower. You might have on like sandals, like flip-flops. So how it works typically is you check in at the desk in the lobby. You can't see anything from the lobby. It's just like a closed lobby where you come in with your, maybe like a little bag of your, gear. Like, you're not really allowed to use like cameras and cell phones in the locker room, obviously. But if you want to take devices upstairs, you can take them upstairs. So the way it's designed, just in general, I think I've talked about this before. There's a once you check in, they get all your info. They give you a locker key. They kind of ask you what you're going to do while you're there. If you just want to go upstairs, they're probably not going to give you a towel or anything. If you want to use the actual like spa sauna space, which is almost more like, I don't know what the Korean word is, but like the Japanese onsen, it's kind of like that, but it's not a natural spring, and it's indoors, and it's basically like, you basically just go to the locker room. So that's already like something that I was curious about, because I'm like, I'm a little mask presenting. I don't consider myself super mask presenting, kind of more like on the androgynous end, in all honesty. I mean, like when I went to a festival this weekend, I got mistaken I don't know how many times for a guy. um they have to, when you go through security, they kind of have to tell if they're going to pat you down or if you have to empty your pockets or if they just like scan you through. Usually females, they just scan them through, and if they have a purse, they'll check their purse, but otherwise they're not like checking through your stuff. um they sometimes don't know what to do with me because it's like, well, you're wearing guys' clothes, kind of, and like you have a hat on, so they tell me to take off my hat, and then they have me empty my pockets, but they don't really pat me down, and they're just like, what do you have in your pockets? I'm like, nothing. And then they just kind of let me go through. And they kind of, sometimes they misgender me. Like that's happened a lot, like at the dispensaries or when I'm like whatever, like any of those security kind of things. Like sometimes they don't really know what to do, so they'll maybe start like trying to like scan you, and then like they might try to pat you down, and then they might notice that, hey, you're not a dude. So then they kind of freak out about it, and they're just like, oh shit. But I'm just like, whatever, like I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, it's not like that intensive. It's not like a security check, but like you just go in the lobby and like they just tell you, the males go on this side, females go on that side, and that's the end of that discussion. So I don't know what happens, like what the rules are. If you're non-binary, if you're gender non-conforming, if you're trans, I don't know what that situation would be. Um, like I've mentioned on here that I've like dated all kinds of different people of all different kinds of genders, and like one thing that if I know the person pretty well and I'm like planning what we're gonna do, like I'm not gonna hesitate to like call ahead and like see like what's up, like what's the rules, like what do we do. Can we even go? I'd rather find that kind of stuff out before showing up versus showing up and being turned away, or showing up and having some weird experience where like maybe the staff says and management says you can go to this locker room, go on this side, and then you get in someplace and then like somebody's complaining to management that like this person who looks like this is over here. Like there's just not a lot of protocols in place for it to be obvious, I guess you would say. And the reason why, okay, so I haven't really fully explained. So basically, you go in the locker room. If you're gonna go into like this communal bath area, from the women's side, you go in from the women's locker room into the women's bath area. From the men's locker room, you go from the men's side to the men's bath area. These bath areas are not clothed areas. You have a towel with you to like dry off. You might have like a washcloth to be able to like cover, like, put like hot water on your face or cold water or whatever if you want a washcloth. But usually, like when you're walking around, you can wrap yourself in a towel or not. Usually the towel is there to dry off with, and then otherwise you're not clothed and you're walking around without your clothes on for the most part. But you're not really there like looking at people or like checking them out or whatever. Like you notice that they're there. Just like if you're like at a gym or something, you kind of notice who's on the bike next to you. Like you kind of notice, oh, what shorts they have on, what shoes they have, like whatever. Like you notice basic stuff about them, but you're not like there to like check them out. You're there to just like relax. And so you go in, you use the shower that's there, to like actually like make sure you're clean when you go into this communal bath, because people are nude relaxing in there, but it's all just either like females on one side or males on the other side. And so you're just in there, and they have hot, they have cold, they have different kind of stuff, but like there's like a section that has like full nudity basically. It's not like an American spa where they have just like massage tables or something like that. Like it's full nudity. Um, and then you have the option, you can skip that part altogether. You can skip the bath part altogether and just, change into the shorts and t-shirt that they give you and just go straight upstairs. That's a shared like all genders kind of area. I don't even know if I want to call it all genders because I don't know specifically if they really do allow all genders or not. And I'm not trying to even knock this place because I don't even know. Like, they might be completely accepting. They might have never come across this type of a situation, but they have the that kind of you know um like the queerness things are not really very obvious. If they're accepting, there's nothing there that makes it obvious or not. I don't know their policies. It's not written on the website. But I don't really know. So basically, that's what I'm mostly curious of, is how that type of a site addresses people who aren't the binary or people who are trans people. Just because I know that the process to get in is so like gender specific, that I don't really know what they do outside of that. Like if they would just say like you can't come here, or if they have some kind of options. I mean, for paying customers, I just don't know. And then when it comes to the upstairs place, like say if they just let you go in regardless of your gender, regardless of anything, like they just let you go into a locker room and then you change and then you go upstairs. Like once you're upstairs, it's completely co-ed. Like everyone's fully clothed. You can lounge around on the floor, relax. There's pillows, all sorts of like relaxing kind of mats and stuff. The floors are heated. It's very calming. It's very just like relaxing. There's food if you want snacks, food, a meal. You can eat there. So it's not that section. The only part about it that makes it more of a gendered related space is because you have to wear the attire. You have to wear the shorts and the t-shirt. That's part of the clothing you have to wear to show that you paid, to show that you're like actually like there to use their facilities. Otherwise you are breaking the rules. But I don't know how they would really do the locker room part, or if they maybe have like separate individual like bathrooms, for example, where somebody could maybe change and then go upstairs from the lobby, which I don't really know. I only saw the option to go through the locker room, but I mean, I do think that it would do places well to have a protocol in place. I mean, I live in LA. It's not like it's not diverse enough that this scenario could come up at their establishment, or at any establishment for that matter. And like I mentioned, like even when I've had dates, if I've actually planned the dates and gone out with somebody who is, depending on their, if I know more about like their gender and things like that, where it's like, okay, we can't just waltz in like anywhere and just act like it's never going to be like anything concerning that comes up. Like I have to like think it through a little bit more. And so I do think it through, and I have called, and usually a lot of places just don't know. They don't know, that's usually the answer. we don't know. Um, a lot of places say everyone is welcome. I've never heard of a place that says everyone is welcome, but they don't have a protocol, and then you get there and then they turn you away. I've never run into that personally. I've run into places that don't have a protocol and they kind of like figure it out on the spot, or different places that just, they can't really deny you services because of your gender, but usually the most complex part of it, other than just people being jerks, one of the complex aspects of it tends to be just that you don't know what's going to happen when you go in here or there. And usually it's the bathroom situation. That's usually where it comes up. But like I said, like there can be jerks, places, staff, management, customers, they can all be jerks. Not every single place all the time, but I'm just saying, like, it's possible that they might be jerks. But at least in LA, a lot of places don't necessarily like turn you away like that. But when it comes to like spas and things, I don't really know if they do or not. I don't really know. And then that kind of led into another question that I was kind of thinking about, where I was like, well, there are like gay spas, but those types of places like bathhouses and things are usually of more of a sexual nature. They're not usually just for pure relaxation. Usually it's like a hookup kind of culture situation. So you would kind of go and like, like find someone to either hook up with or meet someone there, or, I mean, there is like, depending on the place, I mean, people can be having sex there. It could be like public sex, group sex, whatever. But usually those places tend to be cis gay males. I don't really know too much about the trans culture, non-binary people, like what the rules might be. It might be specific place to place. I mean, it's not like there's so many of them, at least not in the US. I mean, they exist. Like, I think a lot of major cities have bathhouses, but they're not like very advertised or like talked about, or people don't like say anything about it. Like, they're not like mainstream. And people aren't like, you're not getting like flyers to them like LA does, San Francisco does, but I don't really know a whole lot of cities that just like are very open to have them and advertise too. I feel like San Francisco's more open, but I really don't know like how the rules are there. They do have them for females as well, but they're usually more like like kind of, you see the word sauna more, but they're not necessarily as popular of like an establishment. And like they do have like women's saunas, but it's not always clear, unless you know somebody who can tell you about it. It's not always clear if it's like a queer environment or if it's just like a women's sauna. So you kind of have to do a little research, asking around, kind of see what's what, with people who kind of like know, who firsthand, who have probably been. That's probably the only way to really find out, because you can't really easily Google places or like find it that well. But I don't know, like, it's just, I'm just curious to know like what establishments are doing. I mean, I think it's one thing to, have like, a sex establishment that's a little different. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it or whatever. I'm just saying I understand if those places are a little bit like um not easily like making rules, just especially because they have rules obviously, but like not making like protocol for like different genders of people, just mostly because it's already somewhat on the taboo end and already kind of somewhat geared towards a minority group that it's kind of like a protected safe space. I'm not saying that non-binary people or trans people shouldn't be there. I totally think that everybody who fits the criteria to come through the door should definitely be there. But I'm just wondering what the criteria looks like. That's where my questions go. Is like, are these places, will they cater to everybody really? But yeah, I was just curious to know because I find the topics definitely interesting. And something's burning. I'm gonna go see what's burning in the kitchen because I've got my fan on and it's like blowing all the air from the other parts of the house into my room, so I might need to go check what's happening. But anyways, thanks for listening.